Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to Tampa from Tampa. I got AC Young, retired Command Sergeant Major, one each. How are you doing, Sergeant Major?
Hey, sir. I'm thankful, grateful, and blessed to be here with you and your audience today.
Oh, I appreciate it. We're going to talk about Black Ops. I met you at Soft Week. Did you accomplish anything, positive down there at Soft Week, which is Special Forces Operations a week where they talk about all the different things that SOF does and how to support them?
Yes, sir. It was a wonderful event. I'll tell you, they're historic. We were down there with my company, which is Spathe Systems, and we got a chance to see a lot of new personnel that are veterans that are about to retire, and had a chance to work with some of them and then showcase our capabilities from the company. Which our company has got three pillars. We do mission support, C5ISR, and then we have a fellowship program. So it was a wonderful event, wonderful time, accomplished our missions.
All right, so Sergeant Major, give everybody a little background on yourself, because you're not a typical Sergeant Major. You were in Special Ops, which is the other lane. I was over there with conventional forces, which is like the normal guys, is what I say. And you were over there with the clandestine guys, and it's a hard mission you have, small teams. Global mission, support different operations, and you guys are the tip of the spear, different things, that nuances of getting in the areas, tight areas with a small team. So kind of give us background about yourself and how you ended up in Special Forces.
Yes, sir, and thank you for this opportunity, because it's really important, especially for the audience and our next generation. Black Ops is a part of that. We're trying to get the next generation to, and Soldier for Life. We're trying to influence the next generation to step up to the plate and lead our nation. But hey, sir, in the world of special operations, I started out in the 82nd Airborne Division, and a lot of folks come out of that division and find their way into special ops. It just so happened a lot of my mentors were in the 82nd, and they moved over to special ops, and early on, they start, kind of grooming me and mentoring me, like, hey, you have the ability to go do something special, and you need to consider it. So all through my time, and it was pretty. 82nd was my heart. It was just tell everybody that was my heart. That's why I grew up. That's why I grew up with a lot of key people. General Dennis Vi, Bruce Crawford. Yeah. Sergeant Major Somerville. There's a lot of folks that was there with me in the 82nd, and as I moved on, and then I moved on to special ops. I was given an opportunity that I didn't realize that I was being watched to come into the special ops community from a communications perspective, and what the command allowed me to do was shape the special operations forces communications capabilities and manning and training and equipping for the year 2000. And so when I got to the 112 Special Operations Communications Battalion, which is the only Army Special Operations Communications Airborne battalion in the Army, they gave me the responsibility. Hey, you got to shape the command for the future in the world of special operations. So took that job on. Had a great team, a lot of great smart folks, and what that allowed me to do, sir, was lead the next generation. Gave me the opportunity to lead a team that kind of brought the cell phone capability today to what we have in the public. They also brought video, voice, and data at the secure level for the entire enterprise. Right. And then later on, I was selected again to come up from an 05 level battalion command all the way up to a 4-star general. And so I became the J6 senior enlisted sergeant major, and I was there on 9/11. I was in the room making decisions to lead, man, train, and equip and deploy the forces for C2 for Special Operations Forces.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Because I knew Vi when I first came in a little bit back in the day, because I ended up working for like a whole bunch of his proteges. So like I had Austin as my boss when I went to when the 18th Airborne Corps was in Iraq. He was my boss.
Yeah.
With Ed Dorm, General Dorman, So I was with all those guys, and then supporting and then General Andre Peggy, even though he was a CAF guy.
Yes, sir.
He was right at that circle, and it was ironic is that they really, when you say the word groom and season a person, they really challenged me and like myself to get into career fields that a lot of minorities don't go into, and that's one thing I want you to kind of talk on, because I think we have such a large group of minority soldiers in sustainment and in a few in the infantry, but I don't think they look at the opportunities and challenges. So as a person of color, from your self perspective, what made you decide to become a 1%er? Because I'm going to tell you, you're in a unique class. You're a 1%er, so you're not like, it's not like an everyday thing, like Sergeant Major Sellers, that we'll leave him alone. But you're in a unique group, and so what gave you the fortitude and upbringing to make you pursue such a hard path?
Well, first I want to give thanks and honor to my parents, because they started everything. My parents started everything. They at an early age, they said, hey, you got to go out and make the world a better place. And they grounded us in church. We learned my early days of coming up. So Dr. Martin Luther King, his doctrine and all that stuff. So they kept us grounded. They kept us in the right spaces to help people. And even though we were poor, I lived in the projects. I came out of what most folks don't realize is the projects, they're government housing. So we didn't have, many means, but they made the best of it. I didn't even know her at that particular time. We were poor because we had so much love for my parents, and then they wanted us to be productive citizens. So it started there. Once I joined the military in 1977, coming out of high school, I was also led by some of my coaches and teachers. I was a high school athlete, ran track, played football, played baseball, and I had pretty good grades. But so my teachers and my coaches, they also kind of say, hey, you got a little something extra here. So I joined the military. And then when I joined the military, I was surrounded by mentors. And my first platoon sergeant was by the name of George Bradley. He was for the 82nd, just came out of Vietnam, tough, and he just drilled me like, look, you're going to be the best that you go be. And he would, back in the early days, they were able to discipline us in ways that you would never forget. He jumped on me day one. I was 18 years old. He's like, yeah, you're going to be the best you can be. And then throughout the years, I've had other coaches and teachers there, especially in the special operations community. I got to give a shout out to Command Sergeant Major James Brown. And then there's a whole bunch of folks that helped me just kind of mold me in, hey, you want to do something else extra because you got the potential. And here's how you do it. And Joe Dennison, Command Sergeant Major Joe Dennison, was the first African-American U.S. Army Special Operations Command Sergeant Major. And I call him Papa Joe. Papa Joe was on me like a hobo on a ham sandwich, man. He would keep me straight. Every time I think I'd be slacking, he was a government civilian. He'd be looking over my shoulder. And, it was tough, sir. But that's kind of, the path that I took. And those were the leaders that kind of helped me get to where I am today.
Yeah, so you shape the things, and you look at your legacy, and you've moved out away from the military. As even though you're a soldier for life, you're making a difference. So tell me a little bit about the Black Ops Foundation that you guys have set up. Why is it set up, and what is the importance of it?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity too for highlighting the Black Ops Foundation. So what happened is we all looked around and said, just like the Army gave you, hey, you want to be a soldier for life. We wanted to be soft for life, and in those areas, they tell you you want to go out and empower the youth. And what we did, we said, hey, well, let's just all tell our stories. There's very few, as you know, there's minorities in special operations. So we said, hey, well, we'll go out and do what we're supposed to do, and we'll tell our stories. And then we hope that these stories will inspire, educate, and empower and elevate the youth to be all that they can be. So that's kind of how we started. And today, what we normally do is we go into we're a nonprofit, and we want to encourage the next generation by telling stories and education. How we do that is we we have a document series, and you can go on the website, and there's Black Ops TV also. But you can go on the website and you can see our documentaries. There's about maybe 6-7 documentaries that are out right now on Amazon Prime and on the Black Ops TV, which it shows each one of us. And I think we've got representation from all of the services. And one of the main efforts through this documentary is there's a gentleman by the name of Major James Capers. And I have to take this moment to talk about him, sir, if you allow me. Major James Capers was he was a special operations in the Marine Corps, and he was in Vietnam in one of the secretive units in Vietnam, and he did many classified missions, but his story is historic. He was enlisted, and then he got a battlefield commission in Vietnam, and was one of the first African Americans to ever do that. But while he was in Vietnam, he was leading his men, and he got in an ambush, and they all got attacked, and they all were wounded, to include him. And what's a little special about this particular situation is that they had a dog with them, and the dog got shot up too. And what Major Capers did is got all of his men on the helicopter to evac him out, and then the helicopter wouldn't lift because it was too heavy, and he elected to jump off the helicopter to get all his men and the dog to safety. And then later on, by the grace of God, the helicopter stabilized and they all got to the hospital. But he was chosen by the Marine Corps to be the face for African Americans to be recruited to get into the Marine Corps. And from my understanding, when they took that photo, he was still under care from the hospital. I think he had, multiple wounds. He still, he had stuff still in him, shrapnel still in him. And they took that photo of him being Ask a Marine, and they had to hold him up to do the photo. And so he's highlighted in these films, these documentaries. So I encourage your whole audience to go to Black Ops TV and then watch these stories, because they're inspirational and they're educational. And what we hope to do is when the individuals see them, they see that, hey, I can be all that I can be. If they can do it, I can do it.
Exactly. You brought up, I don't think people understand that we are very close to our canines, and when we have our animals with us, and even if we adopt dogs, I remember when I was in Iraq and we adopted some dogs on the base, the guys would not leave the base until the veterinarian cleared those dogs and made sure that they got them back. And I remember at one point they were trying to deny guys dogs. They usually they use local people to get the dogs across the border to a country, and then they pick the dog up. I mean, that's how close Americans are when it comes down to their canines. It's a crazy thing. And the fact that he even put the dog in there shows you how much we trust in, the canines we do. And the fact that you capture that story, because at the one point, there wasn't that many African Americans in the Marine Corps. In 60 Minutes, actually, I want to say back in the early 90s, actually did a documentary on the number of non-officers and the non-selects that they had in the Marine Corps, which now their numbers are a lot better. But it's just to show you that I think people don't realize, and you're a command sergeant major, they used to keep the running number of African Americans that to reach the rank of sergeant major is like making the rank of general, and which is a low number. I was there when the McKinney brothers were there, and I was there. Yeah. I was there. Look, I was during the Army when it was back. It was historic watching these guys make sergeant major, sellers, and I'm like, there ain't that many of them, and so I appreciate that. So now that you're giving back to the community and you guys are doing a lot of stuff with service, what are some of the projects that you guys work on? What events do you have coming up?
Yes, sir. Thanks for the opportunity to kind of share this with you. But I'll just I've got to go back to, we just had our 250th anniversary for the United States Army.
Yes.
And we had our event downtown at the Hilton in Tampa, and it was a wonderful event. We had a gentleman, a Buffalo Soldier, there by his name of Roy Cowwood, and he was there and joined us. But we were also able, as the Black Ops Foundation, we did a video for Memorial Day.
Oh,
and they
okay.
that video as a special feature for the Gold Star families at that event, and it was pretty powerful. I was told later on that one of the Gold Star members that saw our Black Ops video, she called the president and asked to meet with us because it was so moving. And so what we try to do is, at major events, we showcase, the capabilities and try to add to major events. What we have had in the past, we have some road shows. Last year, we did about 5 road shows in 5 different cities. And what that road show does is we go show, some of the documentaries. And then what we have is a live panel. And the panel is, open for questions. And we have the audience participation. And we promote local businesses within the area, veteran-owned businesses doing these particular events. So what's upcoming now is there's an event that's going to be in Atlanta. It's called the Military Influencers Conference, okay. And we're showcased in that event. And then for right here locally in Florida, we're going to have a Veterans Day event sometime coming soon. And it will feature Brigadier General Remo Butler. Brigadier General Remo Butler, for most folks that don't understand, here's another fact that I want to get out to your audience is Brigadier General Remo Butler was the first African-American Special Forces general. Wow. And one of my bosses, and it was the toughest guys in the world, man. I remember he gave me, and I've got to tell this story, sir. It's when you see Remo, you'll see him. He is one tough cookie. And he gave me a mission when we were both assigned to the United States Army Special Operations Command. And when I got through briefing him about the solution that we were going to provide for the operation, I remember him looking at me, and I remember that face. And he gave me he said, "Don't mess this up." And I'm saying, man, but he was dead serious. And all throughout that mission, that's all I could see. I could see his face.
That's right.
But again, when you see him and you see his story, it's phenomenal. I was honored to work for him. I've got a chance to serve with him again at the United States Special Operations Command headquarters. And we were both there as senior leaders. He was the senior African-American officer. I think I was the senior African-American non-commissioned officer at that particular time serving there. And it was a wonderful time serving with him there. But he's also featured in the in the documentary. And I encourage everybody to look at his documentary.
And I hope you guys kind of coordinate with the guys, make sure they get in the Library of Congress, because I just did mine with Carlton, and mine just went into the Library of Congress. So just make sure that historical documents is pushed over to the Library of Congress for the next generation. Because it's funny now that I look at those old World War II interviews that people did and those documentaries, but back then they did them and nobody paid any mind. Now, people go back and do some research and they show them up on public television. So just make sure you guys coordinate with the Library of Congress. Now, Sergeant Major brought up Gold Star families. For the people out there that don't know what those are people that lost loved ones in combat or lost somebody during their time in service, during operation. So just so you know, those people are at a different level. They're considered very highly in our community in the military, but highly in the government because of the sacrifice and loss of the people that they had in their families. And the fact that you guys cover capers, which is unbelievable. The fact that you guys are pushing for him to get a Medal of Honor. The Congressional Medal of Honor, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's phenomenal. And it's sad is that we have a ton of stories out there that they're going untold, and the fact that this one's uncovered and you guys are going forward to get it done. I hope it happens. But Sergeant Major, what advice do you give now that you see the current generation? They got to understand that war is always going to be there, and there's going to always be a conflict, and somebody's got to step up to the plate to make it happen. What advice are you giving the next generation out there when you meet them or have time to talk to them about how they play into national defense?
Yes, sir. I thank you for this opportunity because every chance I get, I'm Soldier for Life, I'm Salt for Life, and it's our job to go back into communities and try to recruit the next generation, but also show the next generation that you too can make it, whatever you choose to do. It doesn't have to be the military, but just be a leader within your community. But what I try to do is in my role when I do go out into the community, just try to show them, what true leadership is all about. You got to lead from the front, and you can't just talk about it. You got to do it. And I tell them, like, what my pop used to always tell me, you don't always listen to what people say, but watch what they do. And
absolutely,
that is very important because, even when no one's looking, somebody's looking. So what you can do for your country, I think service is key. That's service to, the nation, that's service to your church, that's service to your community, whatever, be someone of service, be selfless about it. And, good will come to you. And my mom, I've got to plug what my mom kind of set up for me. She said, hey, son, always treat people like you want to be treated. Always try to help somebody. And if you do that, you'll live a good life. Whatever path you choose, you'll live a good life. So I share that with the youth too, as a foundation that got me through where I am today. And then when it comes specifically down to joining the military, I often go to the athletes because I was an athlete, and that's how I kind of pushed into this thing. Because as an athlete, you're the toughest thing. You think you're, whether you're running track, whether you're playing football, whether you're playing baseball, you're the best. You're the best of the best. And then when someone challenges, you always step up to the plate because you want to be that top percent.
That 1%.
Yeah, you want to be that 1%. So it ain't nothing. It's nothing different. It's nothing different. You need to be that person at that level all the time. So the challenge is, if you think you're good, you got to show them that you're good.
Yeah.
You can't just talk about it. You got to show it, because leaders, and I fashion myself as being a coaching type of leader. Because what I'd like to do is I like to coach you, then I like to put you on the field and then let you see what you do. Because again, if I've done my job, you're going to get out there and you're going to show up and you're going to show out. And so talking to kids, I try to find what motivates them. And then I take that little tidbit of information and then I ramp it up. And if they really want to be all they can be, I'm going to challenge them. I'm going to challenge them because you don't talk a game. You got to show your game.
Guys make the difference in combat, because the moment you lose comms, I'm telling you, man, things go wrong and go right. And if you look in the movie Lone Wolf, that's the when the comms went down. I mean, it makes a difference in special ops, that they are like the tip of the spear of everything you got to do when you're in special ops. Not the mission, because to me, sometimes their mission when they're executing is easier compared to if they lose their comms. So I know you had a lot of stress on you.
Hey, sir, thanks for the opportunity, because I like that. It was something that just motivated me. I'll just kind of walk you through a little path here. When I was in the 82nd, this is back in the early 80s. Most folks didn't even know that satellites. I mean, we were the satellite SMEs. Right. People didn't know that we were using satellites because I had to be able to provide comms for the 82nd Airborne on the ground, in the air, and at sea. And then that's even when you take off from. Most folks know what green ramp is. When you take off from Fort Bragg to going to anywhere in the world, they got to be able to talk not only in the air, but in the rear and in the forward and all that. And we were doing that in satellites. So I got pretty good at that game en route, which later led me to, hey, we're leading in technology here. This is back in the 80s. And then the Gulf War hit. I was a part of an organization that went out. Most folks people don't think about the Gulf War, but it's the last one we won. And it was over, the ground war was over in 4 days. And most folks don't realize, okay, so how did that all happen? Well, the technology that we rolled out at that particular time, people probably know it today as Wi-Fi, your mobile phone, GPS, all those things. And those things came from that. People say, well, how did that happen in 4 days? Well, if you got all that stuff and everybody's talking on a cell phone, and you got GPS, you got all that stuff, it was no wonder this 1991 And
right.
so as communicators, we're on the leading edge of everything. And then fast forward to, the global war on terrorism. C2 is everything, sir. You're a commander. If you can't C2, it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
Oh, yeah. The VSAT, and that was funny. People don't realize that the military is the test ground for like 90% of the technology they use in commercial world. Blows my mind.
Yes, sir. And that's what challenged me. That's why, when people say, well, you smiling. Yeah. Because again, the kids, you have an opportunity to be on the front end of everything. You learn, learns technology way before it hits the commercial market. I think, the last thing I'll talk about, here in this forum was, from an unclassified level, just think about having a global, every inch of the globe, just think about being able to provide a capability to anywhere in the world that you go, that you can talk, you can communicate, you can do FaceTime, you can do video, you can do all that stuff. Just think about this. Think about the power of what, the military's brought to the commercial sector. And, if that doesn't motivate you as a kid, and it could be in anything else. It could be in the medical field. It could be in the logistics field. It could be any field. You pick the field, but you're going to be on the leading edge of all that. So here's a challenge to your audience and the young ones. Get out there and get after it.
That's it. Hey, so give a real quick pitch for veterans that are probably getting out of the military and making that transition. If somebody wants to get in contact with you, even just to get the pick your brain, or just get some mentorship, or possibly to get on with your company, how do they get in contact with you?
Yes, and I thank you for this opportunity. So I'm with Spathe Systems, and I run what we call the Workforce Modernization Program, and I'll just quickly run you through that. It's that we take veterans that they're coming out of the military, and we provide an internship there at the headquarters to make sure that them and their families get a chance to transition into the commercial world, because they're America's leaders, and they've shown it. And the commercial world can use that capability and their leadership in the commercial world. So we do that. My company's name is Spathe Systems, and you can reach us at spathesystems.com. And then also we have what we call the Solve for Life program that's under the Global Solve Foundation. I'm also an advisor for the Global Solve Foundation, and there's a Solve for Life program, which it's another program that allows military veterans to transition out, and it gives you a whole host of resources to go to transition out, you and your family. Because I tell everybody that comes in, and sir, I'll leave you with this. When I tell folks that are coming out, I want you to kind of focus on 5 things, and these 5 things usually work. I've had upwardly towards 40 families that we've helped transition out, and I said, hey, number 1, I call it the Foxtrot 5. That's 5 F's. That's your faith, your family, your fitness, that's mental and physical, your finances, and your friends. Those are the 5 F's. And if you look at yourself in the mirror every day and you cover those 5, you're going to be all right.
Oh, I love it. Hey, guys, and you heard it here on Embrace the Power. Keep it rolling. Hey, Command Sergeant Major, it's been a pleasure having you on AC. Definitely I'll be collaborating with you down the road. I'm going to attend something y'all got going on.
We're looking forward to having you.
I just got back from doing the commencement speech at Georgia Southern, and now I got another one I got to do for Australia. So it just never slows down. But hey, it's been a blessing. You have a great weekend, and as we get ready for Veterans Day in November, I look forward to seeing you. And once again, guys, tune in. And in about 2 weeks, the Sergeant Major show is going to run. It's going to have all the information how to contact him. And I just want to say again, thank you very much for your service, Soldiers for Life, Sergeant Major.
Thank you too, sir.